Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I am John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. Straightforward, let's do it. Americans of Reddit, what's a place in America that, as a tourist, you should avoid at all costs? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Death Valley in the summer, especially if you consider yourself a strong hiker and live in a cooler climate. It has that name for a reason. Don't hike into the wilderness of Colorado, especially for teeners without knowing wilderness survival and responsibilities. Tourists die on our mountains and in Rocky Mountain National Park all the time. Do your research. Altitude is no joke. Anywhere with a rainforest cafe and a wax museum on the same street is a tourist trap. If you're in a national park, listen to what the caution signs say, and don't venture off of paths. One is because of wildlife, and the other is because humans don't need to ruin everything in nature just to get a photo. Also, don't fall into the Grand Canyon. You will die. Not American, but as a visitor trying to travel on the cheap, I made the mistake of booking a Greyhound bus ride. There's a reason why it was cheap, lol. The deserts of the Southwest, unless you're prepared for it and understand the dangers of that environment. It isn't uncommon for us to get folks from Europe, typically Germany for some reason, who decide to go hiking at the worst times of day without enough water. Some of them die. It's really easy to get dehydrated and possibly die, even in safe areas, and the danger can sneak up on you. Gary, Indiana, makes East St. Louis look like a resort. Also, just to be clear, don't go to East St. Louis either. Avoid large chain restaurants. The best food in America comes from small, owner-operated businesses. Trenton, New Jersey. It's the state capital. There's a good museum, but it looks like a bombed-out, looted shithole, and I won't even stop at red lights while in Trenton. Pine Hills, Florida. It's in the Orlando area. Just stick to the tourist areas. I used to live there, and it's a shit show. Most of downtown Los Angeles at night, when the streets get quiet and the locals go home, that's your cue to go back to your hotel or a more popular hotspot. San Bernardino, California at night with no money, walking and waving, screaming obscenities at police officers. As a native Californian, I'd definitely say the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That place is so dirty and grimy, and all the people and street performers there are sketchy and aggressive. Definitely not worth it if you ask me. Respect all wildlife. Take pictures without flash. If an animal changes any sort of behavior or demeanor with you in its presence, then you are absolutely too close. Also, leave no trace. Pack everything up when you leave. Don't litter. Overall, Mississippi. You see American Redditors bash it all the time, but they really aren't just memes. It's miserable there. The government works against you, and the people are understandably in a constant state of unpleasantness. Downtown Albuquerque at night. So many cracked out homeless dudes getting in your personal space. I told my wife to wait in the car while I stood in front of the taco truck. One guy tried to start a fight with me because I wouldn't lower my window to talk to him while I was at the McDonald's drive-thru. I'm used to New York City, where the beggars ask you for money while leaning against a wall or something. In downtown Albuquerque, it's like they own the streets and the roads. If you wouldn't go there in your home country, don't go there in a foreign country. What I mean is, every city has a bad neighborhood. Either research before you go or ask around while you're there. Every country has a backwoods rural area known for being a bad place for foreigners. Learn where it is and avoid it. Every tourist destination has tourist traps. Learn what kind of traps to look out for in your destination. Everybody keeps saying the South, but I live in Savannah, Georgia, and we have lots of tourists come here. It's actually a significant part of our economy. We have a beautiful and interesting city just a few miles from the ocean, and it is perfectly safe to come here anytime, though right now, through the end of August, is rather hot and humid. I would agree with you. I think that Savannah really is a beautiful small town. Tenderloin in San Francisco, between the hours of 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Same for West Oakland, unless it's to someone's house. Leave 0 things visible, not just valuable stuff, anything at all, in your car if you park in either of these places anytime, but especially at night. Branson. It's ridiculous, and the shows are lame. Silver Dollar City is the only good part besides the lakes. Come to Kansas City and eat some barbecue. We're friendly people and have nice museums, shopping, and the traffic isn't bad, and the food is pretty amazing. I just learned something from a coworker. Apparently, Asian tourists in the US are absolutely gaga over the whole cowboy, Southern American aesthetic. That's cool. I can completely get that. It's uniquely American and pretty cool for the most part. Maybe not all parts of the Southern aesthetic, but I won't blame foreigners for not understanding which bits were tied to slavery. And it makes even more sense when you consider how much inspiration Westerns drew from samurai films. Unfortunately, some businesses have picked up on this and are taking advantage of tourists who don't know any better. My coworker used to live and work at a Cracker Barrel. They apparently used to advertise heavily at tourist hubs, handing out flyers and the whole bit. They would get multiple charter buses full of tourists every week who were there specifically to go to Cracker Barrel. If you want to see American Southern culture, do not go to Cracker Barrel. It is the worst, fakest possible version of what you're interested in. It is so to rural America what Olive Garden is to Italy and P.F. Chang's is to China. Maybe not avoid at all costs, but definitely don't seek out. Walk into any independent greasy spoon diner in the country, and you'll get a far more authentic, better tasting, and cheaper experience. Although I may not be as harsh a critic of Cracker Barrel as you were, I do agree that it wouldn't be the great representation for the South. The funny thing is, non-Americans can go anywhere they darn well please and be welcomed because all of us enjoy other accents that aren't American. We're just weird that way. I knew a Japanese man who found himself in the heart of Compton with his Japanese to English dictionary and was escorted to the airport by a gang. They even told him no one would believe it if he told the story. But my friend was too naive to lie about such a thing. So, I guess the lesson is to get a paperback your language to American English book and you're golden. Avoid doing the whole country in a few days. You can't get from New York to Nashville to Miami to Las Vegas to Los Angeles in 10 days and have an enjoyable trip. Pick a region of the country and stick with it. An example for the Southwest would be flying to Vegas, visit some of Utah's national parks, the Grand Canyon and maybe Joshua Tree, and Southern California in a minimum of 2.5 weeks. I know Americans are guilty of doing similar things on Euro trips, trying to see like 8 countries in 10 days, but Europeans do the same shit when they try and visit the US. Coastal California here. Big Sur is beautiful. However, Highway 1 is closed about halfway between Carmel and San Luis Obispo, and it gets ridiculously crowded. The central coast of California is gorgeous, and there's a ton of history and good surfing. We also have a lot of opioids and riptides, hungry white sharks, and serial killers. So, I'd visit, but at your own risk.